Hey, what I thought I'd do today is do a comparison of two pens that are very similar yet distinct enough to where their distinctions could affect your choice on which one of these pens you might want to buy. The first one is the Jinhao 159, and the second one is the Jinhao X159. So hopefully I will not get those two confused throughout this comparison video. All right, first of all, their price. The prices are pretty similar. The X159, you can get these anywhere from $7 to $12, depending on the shop that you buy them from, and the 159 will retail for around $6. The body shape is, for all practical purposes, the same. The girth, the 159 is just a tad bit wider. I think it's like 1 millimeter wider, so a half millimeter on each side than the X159. So really not even noticeable. The weight of the pens is definitely different. You have, with the 159, that is 49 grams, and then overall weight, and then the X159 is 28 grams overall. Open them up, and you have, as far as their just the body alone, the 159 is 29 grams, and the X159 is 18 grams. As you continue to look at them, you will immediately see that there is a difference in the nib size. The X159 has a number 8 nib, whereas the 159 has a number 6 nib. Now, does that make a difference? I don't know. They're writing within both. There's not really, in my opinion, there's not that much difference. You have an acrylic body on the X159, a metal body with lacquer painting on the 159. So obviously that's where all the weight differences come into play. They both take standard international cartridges and converters. Let's see, I don't know if I got that one out, so let me slip that one in since the other one slipped in there. So they're going to hold the same amount of ink. The 159 did not come with any kind of O-ring, and I had put one on there, but I took it off for this video. The X159 did come with an O-ring. When I did my review on this pen, I wasn't sure because I'd been messing with O-rings at that time, putting them on different pens, and so I wasn't sure if I did that on this one, but it does definitely come with an O-ring. Not to eyedropper it, but for the purpose of just making that closure of the pen a little more soft and secure. When you close the 159, it closes secure enough. It's not gonna come undone. But you can, if you want, you can take a small O-ring. I put a rather thick one in there when I did it. So, but anyway, you can do that just to kind of give it a snug. But this really does snug pretty tight. The clips on these two pens are different as well. So, you may like the style of the 159. It has, I'm not too crazy about it, but it's almost like it has they're trying to depict a sword, and which would go along with the Chariot logo right there on the shield. I'm not too crazy about this style. I don't know, it's not my fancy, but it isn't unusual. I have seen, I believe it's Cross Pens, has some series of pens that have a shield, and I'm thinking in particular of a Porsche shield on one of the series of their pens. So again, not unusual, just not my particular fancy on the X159. It is a more simple, subtle type of clip, but it is it's a nice clip. It still has some good style, kind of matches really the other gold-plated appointments on the pen, just simple lines and so forth. So that's kind of my preference, but again, it isn't a big deal. As far as the undoing the caps, the X159 takes about 2 1/4. I'm going to do that again. 1, 2 1/4. And the 159 is 1. So just one rotation. So that's kind of nice. The tension on the clips, the X159 has some really good tension. You are going to need some assist getting it over a shirt pocket or other thinner material, but it is usable and it is feels hardy. Whereas the X159, you want to be careful how much bend you exert, how much pressure you exert when you are using this clip, because it's not quite as hardy up there, so it might be easy to bend out of shape. So be careful about putting it over thick items such as like backpack straps and that sort of thing, because I don't know, or thick notebook covers, because maybe after a while it might bend out of shape. But I'm going to bend that out here. It will separate pretty decent to where you may not have to worry about it too much. But just say all that, they're both very usable clips. This one on the X159 need a little bit more assist. Will these post? Yep, they will post. And the X159 posts securely. It is comfortable. It doesn't seem too long on the back side there when it's posted. You really don't notice any back weight at all. And if you have larger hands, you'll really appreciate that. So that's nice. Whereas the X159, it does post, but it is going to be back weighted. Not crazy back weighted though. So I can see, you know how some pens, when they're a heavy pen and they're back weighted, sometimes you feel it kind of pulling back like that. With this pen, I don't feel it pulling back. I do notice it, but it feels like the weight is more going toward the nib. So, which means you don't have to hold or feel like you gotta put extra pressure to get it on the, lay the ink down on the paper. This, you can just relax it in your hand and write with it. It should be fine. Alrighty, how about some writing samples? Over here we have the Jinhao 159, and I'm not sure, but I think this is a medium nib. It doesn't say anywhere on the pen, and I don't want to take the time to look it up. So I think it's a medium nib. And I'm using ink. This is Monteverde. It's a Sweet Life series and Cherry Danish. Now I'm getting hungry. All right. No hard starts, no skips. It's a fairly wet pen. Reverse writing. It does it. It's a little scratchy, or I should say just feedback. It does good. It keeps up. Let's see about line variation. Well, I wouldn't call it variation, but it will give you some darker tones if that's what you are after. So, like I said, it's a smooth writer in all directions. A little more on the left to right and top to bottom strokes. It puts out ink a little bit better there. Alrighty. Now for dipping these pens. So the Jinhao X159, and this is a fine nib. Again, Monteverde, Sweet Life, Cherry Danish, a little more of a stingy nib and feed. Definitely drier. I'm going to dip it one more time here. Some reverse writing. Keeps up. Yep. Just an extra fine line there. A little more give in the nib. It's a fairly smooth writer. I think I'm going to try it because you can get these nibs in mediums now. I think I'm going to try to find one and see if that'll help, because as you can see, there's a definite difference. You have, and I think the medium nib is greater ink flow, and so the more saturated look to the writing. This is a little bit lighter, but again with a finer nib, and it does seem to be a little different on the ink flow. The nibs or the feeds could have something to do with that too, and like I said, I dipped both of them, so they should have the same amount of ink in there. I tried to let it soak up in there. So anyway, we will transition now over to some final thoughts. Alrighty, how do these two pens stack up, and I don't know which one would I prefer. I think overall, well, I'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, the two pens are very much alike in size, but obviously not in weight, which is probably their biggest distinction. Filling systems and all that, they're all the same. I mean, yeah, there's a different nib size in the X159, but I don't think that really affects the writing pleasure of the pens. Now, when I say nib size, I'm talking number 6 or number 8 on the X159, a number 6 size on the 159. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking nib tip sizes. The nib tip size definitely affected the writing sample. If you prefer more girth or a lot of girth, I should say, with less heft, then the X59 is for you. If you prefer girth but need to feel that pen in your hand, then the 159 is for you. It'll work better. Availability is another difference. The X159 is available in more online stores, eBay shops, and so forth, with their available colors. I think with the popularity of the X159, fewer stores are carrying the 159. Did I get that right? X159, 159. It's just not as popular. I tried to find some updated prices on this style, and it is you know, they're out there. You can get them. You can get them in different colors, but you're going to have to search a little more for them. I think the varieties of the X159 is greater than the 159. But like I said, with their differences in weight and availability and all that, you know, there's enough difference that you can make a good choice. And I say it is nice to have choices. All right. Thanks for watching, and check out these 2 pen reviews where I reviewed both of these pens individually, and you have a great day.